The year is 1936, a year that will be etched into the annals of history, marking the beginning of a tumultuous period for Spain. Spain, a land of sun-drenched plains and vibrant cities, teeters on the edge of a precipice. Its picturesque landscapes and bustling urban centers mask the brewing storm that threatens to engulf the nation. The air crackles with uncertainty, a palpable tension gripping the hearts of its people. Every street corner, every plaza is filled with hushed whispers and anxious glances, as if the very soul of Spain is holding its breath. The once distant rumble of discontent has grown into a deafening roar, threatening to tear the nation apart. Protests and demonstrations have become a common sight, with citizens from all walks of life taking to the streets to voice their frustrations and fears. Spain's history, a rich tapestry woven with threads of conquest, faith, and cultural brilliance, now seems destined to be stained with the blood of its own children. The monuments and landmarks that once stood as symbols of unity and pride now cast long shadows of impending doom. The Spanish Republic, young and fragile, struggles to maintain order amidst a maelstrom of political and social unrest. The government, though earnest in its efforts, finds itself besieged by forces both internal and external, each vying for control and influence. On one side stand the Republicans, defenders of the fledgling democracy, yearning for a modern, progressive Spain. They dream of a nation where equality and justice prevail, where the old hierarchies are dismantled and a new era of enlightenment begins. On the other side rise the Nationalists, a coalition of monarchists, conservatives and military officers, determined to restore the old order, clinging to tradition and fueled by an ardent nationalism. They see themselves as the guardians of Spain's true essence, fighting to preserve its heritage and values. The stage is set for a confrontation that will determine the fate of Spain, a struggle that will pit brother against brother, friend against friend, in a bloody battle for the nation's soul. The lines are drawn and the nation braces itself for the inevitable clash. The Spanish Civil War, a conflict both tragic and transformative, is about to begin, its echoes destined to reverberate far beyond Spain's borders, shaping the course of 20th century history. The world watches with bated breath, aware that the outcome of this war will have profound implications not just for Spain, but for the global balance of power. As the first shots are fired, the hopes and fears of millions hang in the balance, and the true cost of this conflict remains to be seen. Before the storm that engulfed Spain, there was a vibrant cultural tapestry, a rich blend of tradition and modernity. The streets were alive with the sounds of daily life, from the bustling markets where vendors hawked their wares to the lively plazas where children played and elders gathered to share stories. This was a time when Spain's cultural heritage was not just preserved but celebrated in every corner of the country. From the sun-drenched beaches of the Mediterranean coast to the rugged peaks of the Pyrenees Mountains, Spain pulsed with a zest for life, a passion reflected in its art, music and literature. The coastal towns were a haven for fishermen and traders, their lives intertwined with the rhythm of the sea. Inland, the mountains stood as silent sentinels, guarding the traditions of the villages nestled in their valleys. Each region, with its unique customs and dialects, contributed to the rich mosaic that was Spain. The intoxicating rhythms of flamenco, born in the heart of Andalusia, filled smoky cafes, the dancers' swirling skirts and passionate movements a testament to the soul of a people. Flamenco was more than just a dance, it was an expression of deep emotion, a way for the people to tell their stories of love, loss and longing. The music, with its haunting melodies and intricate guitar work, resonated with the spirit of Andalusia, capturing the essence of its people. In the bustling cafes of Madrid, intellectuals and artists engaged in lively debates, their words fueled by strong coffee and even stronger ideas. These were the meeting places for the minds that would shape the future of Spain, where ideas were exchanged and philosophies were born. The air was thick with the scent of coffee and the sound of animated conversation as poets, writers and thinkers grappled with the issues of their time. This was the Spain of Federico Garcia Lorca, a poet of extraordinary talent whose verses captured the essence of his homeland, its beauty and its pain. Lorca's poetry was a mirror to the soul of Spain, reflecting its joys and sorrows, its triumphs and tragedies. His words painted vivid pictures of the landscapes he loved, from the rolling hills of Andalusia to the bustling streets of Madrid. Through his work, Lorca gave voice to the voiceless, shining a light on the struggles and dreams of the Spanish people. But beneath the surface of this vibrant culture, tensions simmered. The streets that once echoed with laughter and music now whispered of unrest. The harmony that had defined Spanish society was beginning to fray, as old grievances and new challenges came to the fore. The signs of discord were subtle at first, a heated argument here, a protest there, but they were growing harder to ignore. The echoes of Spain's imperial past, the spectre of poverty and inequality, and the clash between tradition and progress created a volatile mix. The remnants of colonialism cast long shadows, and the gap between the wealthy and the poor seemed to widen with each passing day. In the countryside, peasants struggled to eke out a living from the land, while in the cities, workers demanded better conditions and fair wages. The tension between the old ways and the new was palpable as Spain stood on the brink of transformation. The Spanish people, deeply divided along political and ideological lines, found themselves caught in a riptide of change, hurtling towards an uncertain future. Political rallies became battlegrounds for competing visions of Spain's destiny, with passionate speeches and fervent supporters on all sides. The ideological clashes were not just about politics, they were about the very soul of the nation, about what it meant to be Spanish in a rapidly changing world. As the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, the tapestry of Spanish culture began to unravel, setting the stage for a conflict that would forever alter the course of the country's history. The Spanish Republic, proclaimed in 1931, promised a new era of progress and equality for all its citizens. It ushered in a wave of reforms, granting women the right to vote, implementing land redistribution, and promoting secular education across the nation. However, these sweeping changes were met with fierce resistance from powerful factions within Spanish society. The Catholic Church, deeply entrenched in Spain's history and psyche, saw its influence threatened by the Republic's secularizing policies and reforms. Landowners, fearing the loss of their vast estates, rallied against land reforms. The military, a bastion of conservatism, bristled at the Republic's attempts to assert civilian control over their ranks. These disparate groups, united by their opposition to the Republic, found common cause in their shared nationalism, their yearning for a return to a romanticized past filled with traditional values. They coalesced into a formidable opposition, their ranks swelling with those who felt left behind by the Republic's reforms, those who yearned for a strong leader to restore order and stability to their troubled nation. The Spanish Civil War was not just a domestic conflict, it became a crucible for the ideological struggles that gripped Europe in the 1930s. The war was a microcosm of the larger battle between competing political ideologies that were sweeping across the continent. The war transformed into a stark battleground between fascism and democracy, with each side representing a different vision for the future of Europe. Drawing volunteers from across the globe who were eager to fight for their beliefs and ideals. Each volunteer fought for their own vision of Spain's future, hoping to shape the outcome of the war and, by extension, the future of Europe. From the cobblestone streets of Paris, where intellectuals and artists debated the merits of different political systems, to the bustling cities of North America, where the Great Depression had left many disillusioned with capitalism, young men and women, inspired by a sense of idealism and a thirst for adventure, heeded the call to arms. They were driven by a desire to make a difference, to stand up for what they believed was right. Heeding the call to arms, they left behind their families and homes, embarking on a journey into the unknown. They joined the International Brigades, a diverse group of volunteers from different countries and backgrounds, a ragtag but passionate army of volunteers who flocked to Spain to defend the Republic. They were united by a common cause despite their differences. These were not seasoned soldiers, but students, writers, artists, and laborers who had little to no military training. United by their belief in the Republican cause, they were willing to risk their lives for a chance to create a better world. On the other side, General Francisco Franco, the charismatic and ruthless leader of the Nationalist faction, sought to impose his vision of a fascist Spain. Franco received support from fascist regimes in Italy and Germany who saw the conflict as an opportunity to spread their influence. Hitler and Mussolini, eager to test their military might and expand their influence, provided Franco with weapons, troops, and strategic support. They saw Spain as a testing ground for their expansionist ambitions, a place to refine their tactics and strategies. The Spanish Civil War, once a local conflict, quickly escalated into a proxy war, with foreign powers using Spain as a battleground for their ideological battles. It had become a terrifying prelude to a global conflict, a harbinger of the horrors that would soon engulf the world. The war foreshadowed the widespread devastation and loss of life that would come with World War II. The Spanish Civil War was not just a battle for Spain's future, but a crucial chapter in the larger story of the 20th century, setting the stage for the global conflict that would soon follow.